Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the show. My name is Dan Hafner. Welcome back into Tech Bites. We are joined by a guest today, Tetiana Kobzar. She runs a company called Diversito, which is an award-winning software development company. They've built quite a bit of technology. She's really big in the health and ed tech space. She's joining us from Europe today, so I'm very excited to have this conversation with a fellow developer, a fellow business owner. This is always a fun way. Some people are always like, why do you bring people that do the same thing as you on the show? And it's like, iron sharpens iron. Like I'm not afraid to talk to people who do the same exact thing that I do, because we all serve different markets. We all do different things. We have different areas of expertise. So I'm just very excited to glean some insight from Tetiana, and I hope you guys are as well. So before I bring her in as well, just as always, thank you all for joining, and please be sure to subscribe to the show, follow it, share it if you find value in this, and you will be able to connect with Tatiana here at the end of the episode. We'll give you some information, and it should be in the show notes as well. So welcome to the show, Tatiana. How are you?
Hi, Dan. Thanks for having me. I'm good. Exciting for
Yes,
today
this is
talk.
yeah. You're joining us from you said you're a little bit south of London. You go between London and France, right?
Yes. So now I'm in France.
Okay.
A
What's
little
the
bit
weather?
of
What
sunshine.
sunshine? Okay, it's very rainy here in the United States where I'm at today, so I'm a little jealous. It's been very nice though recently, but yeah. So before I get into that, just give us a little bit, 30,000 foot view. I mentioned a little bit about your company. Kind of what do you guys do particularly?
You did a pretty good introduction. So we do software for mostly for the startups in edtech, IoT, health tech. So those like our main industries do mobile, web, like actually. So our idea is to let our clients to do the business part, and we are taking care of the technical one, so they can relax and don't worry about that. Also, I'm running my own little startup. So that's like, interesting to wear my clients' shoes and work with developers as a client rather than as running the service company. So that's like,
Interesting.
very interesting period of my life.
Interesting. Yeah, you're kind of doing you're like the client to your own business almost. It's
Exactly,
kind of cool.
exactly.
Interesting. Okay, so how'd you get into software? Like I think you've been running your business like over 10 years, something like that.
Yep. I worked in a startup before, and it didn't survive. And the company got closed, and we had a team. And I thought that probably uh, we have a good team. Let's try to do something together. And I found a couple of clients, and we started to do the projects for them. And then, like, it's grew organically to our like 30 people.
Very cool. Very cool. No, I love to hear people kind of with that similar path of like we were working here, I wanted to do this thing, and I just kind of eventually did it. So, well, before I get into the granular details, like, so what do you think? What do you think? I'm gonna start very big, very broad. What do you think is, from what you've seen, the clients you've worked with, maybe even in your own startup, what do you think are some of the biggest things, obviously inside of AI and all of the revolutions going on with that? What do you think are some of the biggest things that people might be missing? Like some of the obvious things that maybe you see in the development space that maybe everyone else is missing. Like, is there any blind spots we should be aware of that you know of?
From what I see, a lot of startups, they think about how to build the product, but don't think that much about what are they going to do with it after it has been built. So, like, how they going to acquire users, how they are going to market it, and other things. So that's in this I see the most of cases when the startups fail because they build software, but like they cannot bring enough users to have this momentum and to be profitable and to grow and actually to build a like normal business after the bootstrapping and MVP and other things. So that's what I see. And it's
Interesting.
always has been. So it is not some new trend or something. So
Yeah.
that's
Some
nothing.
things never change, you know. So this is interesting. Do you think that's because of a lack of validating the product before you built it, or more just a lack of skills in business and marketing? Do you think it's
I
one or the other?
I think it's a little bit of both. Especially, for the passionate startuppers who have a great idea and they're just, all into bringing it to life rather than um, like thinking of more back to the ground things like, where to get money, where to get users and other things. I recently, like, last week, I was participating in the panel in Apps Forum conference in London, and it was like such a eye-opening for me because um, I'm also focusing on the development part of things mostly. So, like, all my experience is more on the building products rather than promoting them. And this conference, so I was talking about the gamification there, but all the rest, it was like, some different world. So I haven't heard like part of that like terminology there. And first I was lost, but then I just started to absorb it and I understood how actually cynical those people, but I mean in a good way. I mean they're very pragmatic. They're not talking about saving the world, like making it a better place, but more like, the numbers, monetization, like the paywalls and other things. And they're like, super business focused, how to make you profitable, how to make it bring you money, how to, and other things. And it was like very, very unusual from the regular, like, well, maybe not regular, but I mean to the previous conferences where I have been, where all those like, enthusiastic startups who are like more about all those values, but those people, but without it you cannot grow. So that's like true. So I understood that how uh I had this blind spot a little bit, and so now I'm trying to understand more about it, and at least also to recommend my clients, especially on the early stages, to put it into their strategy, to think about it like more long term, not just so we are fundraising for the MVP and some next steps, but more like, because it's also from the findings, it's also like where most of the money go to build those momentum, to bring those users, but like it's not that often when people think about it.
Yeah, yeah. So what was the name of that conference again?
It was apps forum.
Oh, okay. I thought I thought I had saw marketing for that. That yeah,
Yeah,
that
probably.
would be cool. If I wasn't across the pond, I would probably have gone to that. But no, that's interesting because yeah. So I remember when I first started my business, I was like, okay, I'm just going to be the builder. Like I'm just going to be your developer, and I don't want to have to deal with the marketing of this. I don't want to have to deal with like that's your job. This is your product. Like I'll build it for you and then that's where it stops. Like I'll support you if like, down the road we need to fix some bugs or do some improvements, like great. And it's still the bulk of what I do. But I also realized that there was a huge missed opportunity there, because you that's the natural next step. That's the natural next step to like, okay, great, we got this awesome thing. Now, how do we go build it? How do we go monetize it? How do we go like market it, raise funds, whatever you want to do? And so yeah, so like I've kind of moved in. I don't know about you, but I've moved into just like I have additional software that we can provide our clients that says, okay, here's a toolkit for you, so you can do emailing and payments and monetization and marketing and that kind of stuff. But we're still not like the hey, we'll market your thing and get you noticed. There's other agencies for that kind of thing. Um, do you, so do you just kind of coach people through that afterwards, or do you kind of like what's your process for after the build?
Yeah, yeah, we have the same. So also, like, I started with just the build because I was in startup. I was involved very much into all those things. I was a director of the company. So I did the fundraising. I did all those, like, the advertisement and other things, and I was not very good at that. This, 10 years ago, I was. I think I didn't have enough experience, so now I'm learning, and yeah, and exactly the same with the client. So I thought, okay, so I will just build it, and that's your thing to market it. Yeah, but the same, especially after the war started. So we started to think more globally, and trying to be more flexible and more useful for our clients. That we had our like little internal marketing team that was working on promoting our business. And when the war started, we thought, okay, so what we can do to be even more valuable for our clients, because that was like, very intense and crazy time when we didn't know what tomorrow is going to bring us. And that's how we started to help our clients with marketing, with at least like with what we understood well how it works. So there's like content marketing, personal brand development, and like basic SEO optimization. And yeah, so that's we started. And anyway, any pre-sale, any like new client discussion, we are starting with why you are doing this. So what problem are you trying to solve, or what goal you want to achieve. And we also like, so tell us more what you are going to do with them after you have your MVP. So you're going to a lot of clients, they say, okay, we are going to get some funding or something, but what are you going to apply for? So what is your stress? So what money are you going to ask for, and what is your plan, how you're going to spend it? Again, to understand, maybe we can support somewhere, maybe we can recommend someone, because we are in this industry for quite a long time, so we know people. But just because what I personally believe, that success of our clients is our success as well, because the more they get, the more they will develop with us as well. So that's my approach.
Yeah,
I think very similar.
yeah, I'm similar as well. That's very good to hear. Okay, um, interesting. Now you mentioned something about this conference that kind of caught my ear, and I wanted to kind of dive into that. You mentioned the word gamification.
Yes.
Um, so I'm curious because I think about this a lot too. Like there's a big buzzword. It's a buzzword. I feel like sometimes of like you got to gamify. It's gamification. It's gamified. Like everything is gamified. It's almost like we live in this society where we all feel like our as humans, our attention spans are so abysmally terrible that we feel like we have to gamify everything in order to keep our attention,
To hook,
which is
yeah,
like
this book.
that's a whole separate conversation on humans overall. So we don't need to have that conversation. But because I'm
I'd love
curious, because like,
to.
yeah, I mean, maybe if we have time, but but my question is like, so we build like a lot of apps that when I think about it, I'm like, I don't know how you would gamify this. It's not really something that is like that can be gamified in a way, and maybe that's just limited thinking. I'm curious, like what are some of those concepts that you could share with us that you learned about gamification?
Gamification. I can talk hours about gamification, because that is my passion, gamification
Okay.
and behavioral design. So that is like my thing. So for gamification, I think that gamification is much wider term. That when person hears gamification, what they usually imagine, they're like scores, badges, leaderboards,
Yes.
maybe streaks. So that
Yes.
is like, the set that everybody imagine when you speak about gamification. But in my opinion, and so that's not me who invented that, so my absolute favorite framework, it named Octalysis gamification framework, Yuka Cho, the author of it. The idea of gamification is about the motivation. So you're thinking not about games, not about gamification elements, but you are thinking about the what drives people to do something or stop doing something. So like any action that we do is like triggered by some motivational drive. And they can be very different. So it can be, and again, the very same thing. So you can, let's take an example. If you want your users to do the checkups regularly, you can motivate them by very different stimulus. So it could be like out of fear. You tell them if you're like not doing checkup, you can be seriously ill and it will have several consequences. It can be like more bigger meaning, bigger picture, like let's build a healthy nation together. And so each like checkup contributes to the better society, better healthcare, like reducing the NHS or I don't know what's in the US, the governmental spend. Oh, so like you can motivate them through that, or you can build, let's say, the digital twin who like, or like little avatar who gets like better or worse based on your actions or your. So there are like many different things. Or even like, as I like this example. So my favorite gamification technique is progress bar. So it doesn't look like game at all,
Mm,
but it is, because it triggers this like achievement and completion desire. So like when you see those like 87% of something, you want to make it 100%. So that is just
yeah.
like like the natural motivation. But you would never say that it is game if you see it. So the thing is that when I think gamification, I'm thinking more about like the psychological motivation of people to use the app, how you want them to feel, and why you want them to do the desired action, or don't do the, if your, I don't know, maybe your app is about stop eating sugar or something, I mean.
Yeah. No, that makes sense. I think that's good. That's a good reminder. Is like it's almost like that open. I think it's like called like open loop theory or something. It's like, or closed loop. Like as our brains like naturally want to close a loop. You want to like bring something to a resolution when there's, honestly, I think that's one of the biggest. And I'm not a psychologist. Just a disclaimer on this, but like I think that's one of the biggest causes of like entrepreneurial like anxiety or like stress is that you have so many projects, you have so many things going on, and it's just like me, like I'm terrible with this. I have, I don't know, 50 tabs open on my Google Chrome browser, and I'm just that way. I've just always been that way. And um and I think that leaves so many things open all the time, and there's no like closed loops, and it's almost because it almost goes back to like that dopamine hit, right? There's almost like a little like a pleasure response, or like, yes, like I got to 100%, like that feels good, I want to do that again, kind of thing, right?
That's true. That's true. But my personal belief that the drive for the entrepreneurship is more, uh, at least it works for me, is more of the curiosity and like this unpredictability. So you always have this let's say hope or expectation of something, like some new clients comes in, some like you're not having those, because like with the salary you have everything the same every month. Okay, maybe you have like 10% raise in some period, but you're like you know what to expect. But this like surprise that that drives, I think, a lot of entrepreneurs as well.
Interesting. Yeah. Okay. So one other thing I wanted to ask you about. You sound like you have this great software development business going. You mentioned you have your own startup kind of going, kind of being your own client. I'm curious, because I'm kind of in that spot as well, where I have run my own software development company for 5 years now, and I've had some small little startup ideas here and there of different things that I've had. So yeah, I'm curious, from one person to another, like how do you manage all of the hats? Like how do you manage, like, oh, I got to do this and I got to do that and I want to do this and I got to push this forward and this is on pause and I'm behind on this but I'm ahead on it. Like, do you have a process? Do you have a system for managing these kinds of things? I'm curious.
I'm trying. I'm not
Okay,
like
fair.
100% successful in that, but uh, do you know Tim Urban?
What was
And
that?
his Tim Urban. His
No.
idea, it's a blogger and author, and he has like a very brilliant blog post about why people procrastinate. He actually took his idea from the Thinking Fast and Slow of Dave Kahneman. So but he like he illustrated it very nicely and like bring it in more simpler uh, words, let's say, than in Thinking Fast and Slow. And the his idea is that we are having like two. Okay, so that's not teams, but that we have two systems in our mind. One is like very smart and very slow, and other is very fast but like not so smart. And the like slow system, it's very energy um, heavy. So like you spend a lot of your brain power, let's say, to do like some decisions. And this the second one is like very fast, but it can be inaccurate. The main I'm coming to the to the point. And most of the time, this like fast and a little bit stupid system operates our mind, and we just turning on the first one really when we need to think. And that's why the main thing is to try to use it efficiently only on the tasks that requires it, and do as little switches as possible. So let me bring it to more practical thing. First is we need to offload the operation memory. So not to keep tasks in loop in our heads, but offload them. So basically, as soon as sometime, because I think that every person, especially founders, like we have I don't know, every hour you have a lot of things from the very different areas that require your attention or your actions, like all the departments. Sometimes they come to you in random time, write you in Slack, you got some email, somebody, and not to mention your personal life that also has a lot of to-dos and other things. And as soon as you've got the new to-do, you are writing it down. So you just need to have some reliable like storage of all your tasks. So like inbox or something, you are just writing it down there. You're taking your like conscious time to go through your tasks, rewrite them into the very clear and simple instruction, not to spend another thinking on understanding what you mean there. So the task like email Dave, it like you read it and you're like still need to think, you need to remember what actually I was trying to say. But if you write task like write Dave that I am not coming tomorrow to our meeting and ask to reschedule, let's say. So that's like very easy. Okay, probably this task would be easier to just do than write, but I mean the idea is that it needs to be very precise. If it is like some task that you understand that you procrastinating it over and over again, so this task like hanging out in your to-do list for like couple of weeks, you need to rewrite it and like make it the smaller step. So for example, if you have task, create the presentation for the conference, and you're like, oh my god, I need to see it and think, and it looks like very long thing, let me just work very quickly on something simple here, and you never do it. So you're just, in this case, you need to, again, like do the decomposition of it and take the first step. So let's say with the presentation, it's like, um, look for the book which you want to base your presentation on. For example, find it on the shelf and put it on the table, for example, or something like that. And it just gives you, and usually when you started to do, you made a baby step, and then you probably do a couple of more, and that's how you make things move. So basically, it's just write everything down, try to keep as little as possible in our head, and that would be the general recommendation.
That's good. That's good. And my mind just goes, I love having these conversations because my mind just goes to how analogous software development is to all of these things, And I think about documentation. And I think about a lot of the tasks that we've had with some of our clients recently around like, hey, how does this work again? And we go back and we're like, oh, we didn't document this very well,
Mm-hmm.
because now we're taking the time to go back and figure it out. What did we do here? Why did we do it this way? What was our decision process going through there? So that was a very valuable lesson I learned recently with a couple of different clients, was like, okay, our documentation game needs to definitely improve, you know,
That's
because
true. That's
it
true.
saves you. So I mean, that's my piece of advice for anyone listening. If you're even if you're just building your own software product, like, documentation sucks. It's not fun, but man, does it save your life at some point. Like, it really saves time. It might not be tomorrow, it might not be next week, it might be next year, but you'll be glad that you did it. Like, you really will. Um,
100%.
yeah, yeah, exactly, exactly. Okay, so let's get into this here as we wind down our time. You know, what advice maybe would you give? You know, if you had the, I mean, you do have the microphone, I guess today. When you have the microphone, what advice would you give? Um, you know, to people who want to build some products or build a product. They have an idea, that they want to build something that people truly love, truly use, and they want to build that the gamification, you know, piece into it that keeps people, you know, engaged and keeps this thing growing. What advice would you give?
Um, I would um, I would advise to think, how do you want people to feel using your app,
Mm,
and
that's good.
why do you want them to be with you? So what? So more like thinking from this perspective. So because people, they, again, when working with people, we are, or being friends with people, we usually remember not exact action that they did, but how we felt near them. And it's the same with the product. So that's what I would focus on.
You know, that's so good, because as you said that, I was like, that's, it goes back to what you were talking about at the beginning. Like, you know, so many people are so worried about the features. It needs to do this. It needs to do that. It needs to do this. Um, but then you forget about, like, how should you feel? Do you want it to feel elegant? Do you want it to feel easy? Do you want it to feel focused, clean, modern, old timey? Like, there's so many different things that go into that. That's powerful. That's really, really good. That's really good. Very nice. Very nice. Okay. Well, do you have any other final thoughts that you want to share with anyone, or the audience here before we sign off? Okay. No worries. So we can find you at www.diversito.io, correct?
Yes, or my LinkedIn. I think I the most active there.
Most active on the LinkedIn. Okay, perfect, perfect. All right, guys. Well, that is where you can find Tetiana. So you can go to diversito.io, or you can put her LinkedIn as well inside of the show notes. So you can connect with her and have any, answer any questions. She'd be happy. I'm sure she'd be happy to connect with any of you listening to this at all. So, Tetiana, thank you so much for coming on the show. We really appreciate it. This has been very, very, very fun conversation, very enlightening. I like, I like connecting with people just like you. Like I said, this has been really, really helpful for me in a lot of ways, and I know it'll be helpful for our audience. So thank you for coming on. I appreciate you.
Thank you for having me, then.
All right. Okay, guys, that is it for today's episode. As always, check out the show notes. Go to connect with Tetiana and check out her portfolio and her website there. And then, as always, please like and subscribe to the show. Share this episode with anyone you think might find value out of it. And we will talk to you next time. See you then. Bye.
Bye.
Thanks for tuning in to Tech Bites, your go-to show for software business and technology. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button to stay updated with our latest episodes, insights, and stories. Hungry for more? Dive deeper into the world of no-code by visiting dapanacode.com. Your journey to building amazing software without coding skills starts there. Connect with like-minded creators and unlock a world of resources tailored just for you. Subscribe now. Explore Dapper No Code and let's innovate together.